Hello everybody, my name is Ben Hodgson. I'm the RDO for the Midlands region. We're here today at Carsington Sports and Leisure. It's one of the centres on the edge of the Peak District in the Midlands region to look at single crewing of safety boat. So it's a topic that's come up a lot recently on the club development forums that we've been running across the regions, and at a centre like this one it's actually pretty standard practice, but a lot of clubs would usually have a helm and a crew person in their standard operation of a safety boat. At the moment, with social distancing and the COVID restrictions are in place, for some clubs at their venues and with their craft layout, it's quite difficult to actually work within those restrictions. So a lot more interest at the moment about single crewing of these boats, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So everything we're going to talk about and show you on the little video clips that we've got later on is taken from the Safety Boat Handbook. So we're not reinventing the wheel. This is nothing new, but it's just looking at how you can achieve those tasks and that assistance for people in the water if you are on your own in the boat. As always, normal safety boating practice kicks in, so life takes precedence over anything else. So if there is a threat to life, that is the first thing we're going to deal with rather than worrying about COVID-19 restrictions. So please do remember that. And as always, we're going to kind of focus on some of the proactive measures that we can take actually to minimise the need for us to become involved in a situation. So the first few things we're going to look at are actually the proactive measures that you can take if you do find yourself single crewing. So it's not all about the boats that are on the water. There's some proactive things that you can do before you even get afloat. So things that we discussed in some of the club development forums already are surrounding the sailors. So things like, maybe considering what wind strength and conditions people are going out in. The use of masthead flotation potentially may help in certain environments too. So there is a little bit around what the sailors do and how they choose to go afloat and what your local restrictions or policies may be. Second thing, being a bit conscious of the fact that you are on your own, so there's only one set of eyes, and what that means is you will really consciously need to keep a good look at. I'm sure people do already, but again, just taking that up a little step, and that will stitch into your positioning within the sailing area that you've got. So again, being conscious of the conditions, maybe glare from the sun. It would seem not today, so we've not got that issue just at the moment. But again, do just think about your position, and can you see the people that are on the water that you're looking after on that day. Thinking about the boat itself, again, proactive measures is just looking at where you've got your equipment stowed. So the boats here, they're all set up as per the RYA safety boat checklist, so the equipment's all there, but it's fair to say, different centres and clubs store their kit in different ways. So what I'd like to do is just show you quickly around the boat I've got here. So if I just hop into the helm position, as it would be, things I've got, if you can see already right next to me here, three things that I'm likely to need, again, without having to search in a locker to find. I've got my VHF radio, so it means a communication, a throw bag, which again can be easily be deployed, but it's not in the locker, it's here ready for action, and then the blue dry bag just here, the sort of specially my COVID bag with things like face coverings, sanitising gel, and things like that as well. And again, you'll just equip that as per your own club or centre policy and procedure. So carrying on from there, just looking around my boat, hopefully you can see it, and actually the deck space, it is quite a small boat, this one, but it is really clear. So again, some simple changes that you possibly could make. Alternative propulsion, the paddle is there, but it is strapped away out onto the side. The fuel tank, if you notice, isn't sloshing around the bottom of the boat. We've actually run a line up to the anchor locker, so we've got the anchor and the fuel tank up front, which helps a little bit with trim of the boat actually, but also just means I've got much more space just to move around again without kind of clattering and banging around. And my orange grab tub with all the normal things you'd expect to find, fire extinguishers, first aid, flares, all that kind of stuff, that's tucked in the front of the boat there too. The last thing that again, in terms of proactive measures and kind of just thinking ahead a little bit, is if I needed to help somebody out of the water into my craft, and how that might come about. I'm not the world's strongest man, but by the same measure I'm a pretty big guy, but actually just on my own trying to drag people into a bit of a challenge. So the extra thing I kind of set up ready is just an extra strop line here. It just clips onto the side of the boat, which I could deploy really easily on my own. Just drop that into the water, and that provides a step or a stirrup to help somebody climb in. They can grab the handles there, and it's really easy then on my own to help somebody into my boat without worrying how big they are or how strong they may or may not be. So again, just looking at the proactive stuff, some really good ideas there just to help you prepare before you actually set off and go afloat. The same thing if you're in a rib. Again, the proactive measure we've already mentioned, they're keeping a good lookout, thinking about your positioning, what your sailors are doing in this idea of maybe the masthead flotation. But just in terms of stowage of kits, clearly there's a bit more room in here, but by the same merit, I still need to make sure that if I'm single crewing, I can reach the things that I'm likely to need immediately. So I've got the throw line again, really close. It's not in a locker right down the back there, it's up here ready to grab. And we mentioned earlier on about a strop to help people in, so it's a slightly bigger boat here with a higher freeboard. So what we got is again a quick and easy to deploy ladder that can just drop in over the side of the craft there to help somebody in, or they can help themselves in, which would be even more ideal, just into the craft. But again, it's pre-set up, these proactive measures that you can use just to make sure you're ready for eventualities. Okay, so we're ready to go afloat now. The first thing we're going to look at is how to get people or help people into your safety boat should you find that it's a man overboard situation and basically just a recovery of people back into your boat. A couple of, again, things to consider. I've already talked about the strop or the ladder that I've got ready there, so that's hopefully going to help that. And the second thing, again, just bear in mind that I haven't got a crew, is that perhaps normally we're going to drive into the wind and pick someone up right at the bow or get contact at the bow. Because I'm on my own, I'm actually going to go a little bit beyond that and just get the try and bring a line or the strop to the person who's in the water. So again, a very slight tweak on that normal process, just to help that person because there isn't someone else to grab from within my boat. You okay?
Good.
Yeah. No one else with you?
No.
Okay.
Just me.
Brilliant. I'll get you straight back to the shore then. You want to just hold on to the side? Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same thing, looking at a slightly bigger boat now. So again, staying on the idea of helping someone into the craft. But with the size of the boat we've got here, about 5.5 metre rib, rather than driving in, we're going to use a drift down method. Lots of advantages to that with this type of craft, provides a little bit of shelter for the casualty, and also mean that the engine can be off way ahead of time, so I can focus my attention on the person in the water too. So we're just going to run through that with you now. If you need any help, just let me know. Just grab your shield out from here. There you go. Just pop that on. Thanks very much. Are you okay? Not injured at all?
I'm alright, mate.
No, brilliant. Just pull that ladder back up out of the water. That'd be great. Just pop the boat there. Just make sure you're holding on. That's it. We'll start the engine. Okay, so the next thing we're going to have a look at is helping someone into my boat who's a little bit less able to do so, maybe because they're cold, they've been injured, or again just physically not strong enough or able to help themselves in. So the measures I can take to help. Again, we'll be driving into the wind, but trying to bring the boat and the strop, the working side, to the casualty in the water. And again, a couple of things at the moment just think about. I'll already have my face covering on and one ready for the casualty too, but when they're coming out of the water, simple things just like facing them away from me, again, will just help with those mitigating measures in and around the COVID-19 restrictions. Okay, so we're now going to start looking at how to offer some assistance to dinghy sailors who might find themselves having a bit of a moment or in a bit of an issue. I think the first thing to point out is it's, good practice still stands, and what I mean by that is that actually before you go rushing into a situation, it's just to approach and then hold off or stand off from that sailor, from that boat, and actually just find out if you can offer them help verbally before you actually need to get physically involved with your safety boat. So actually you can offer some help and assistance before going into the situation as well. Carrying that on one step further, we're going to look at a single-handed dinghy in this instance, and the simplest method of offering assistance, really, especially with the restrictions that remain in place, would be to go to the mast tip. and that helps with social distancing. It also is probably worth considering the fact that that's, in surface transmission terms, there's less risk involved with that as well. But it does mean I can get contact with the boat and help a sailor back in using a scoop method by walking the mast up from my safety boat without ever having to come into contact with the sailor or the deck part of their dinghy, and they should be scooped back in and ready to sail away. Are you alright there?
Yeah, mate.
Do you need a bit of help, or can you get the boat back up right?
I can do it with a hand, mate. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I'm just going to come up to the top of your mast, so if you can keep hold of the boat or the tow straps.
Good.
So I've got hold of that. So just while you're there, I'm going to get you to check that the lines are all completed, the main sheet, the jib sheet.
Yeah, everything's free.
Okay, brilliant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk the mast up, which will help with the boat back round. If you can keep hold of the tow straps, kind of lie on the surface of the water, what should happen is you'll actually just get scooped straight into the boat. Alright, so you ready at that?
Ready.
Okay, I'm going to start lifting. So just walking up the mast. And I'm going to carry that arm down the foresail, so a bit at a time. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at helping somebody who's on a windsurfer. So as we did with the single-handed dinghy, first thing will be an approach to the area, and then holding off or standing off and having a conversation about whether actually that person can help themselves or whether we do need to engage the safety boat and into that situation. But in a nutshell, it really is the same as a single-hander. So if I do need to help, I'll be going to the mast tip to again maintain that social distance and think about the transmission points, minimising that, and then I'll get the person into my boat, but from the board straight into my craft and into a tow. So should be fairly straightforward, and we'll get straight on and have a look. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the little tips and snips I've had for you. Just to try and draw them together and summarise the key points that we've looked at today. Threat to life will always take precedent in any given situation, irrespective of the COVID-19 restrictions that are in place at the moment, so please do bear that in mind. Everything we've also looked at is in the Safety Boat Handbook, so we've not reinvented anything or changed anything, we're just staying with that good practice, key skills, and obviously just looked at how we can deploy that once you're on your own, or if you're on your own within the safety boat. And again, just to think about making sure that you're always following your own centre or club's COVID-19 risk assessments and policies in respect of operation, PPE, and also cleaning the boats before and after their use on any given day. I hope you've enjoyed it.